And I said before, I think part of the challenge really is with moving into adulthood. Once you become a teenager, and then, quite honestly, for the rest of your life, there is the sense of I know it all. I don't think that leaves after 17 or 18. I think in some cases it only gets worse, right? Because now I've got life experience. I've got a college degree. I've got job experience. I've whatever, right? And so I think I know it all. And quite honestly, I think other people expect me to know it all, right? I think my boss expects me to know it all. My spouse expects me to know it all. My children expect me to know it all. And so the idea of moving beyond my understanding, that seems kind of at odds with what everybody else seems to want from me. They want my understanding to be at the pinnacle, at the top. There shouldn't be anything beyond my own understanding. And yet, of course, there is. And again, it requires that humility to recognize that and again come before the Lord and say, hey, you know what? I need to understand things the way you do.
Yeah, and that's the part that's not easy, and that's where it comes back to the idea of Scripture and the Word being what we need to get into so we can have His understanding. Because His Word, if we treat His Word correctly, I'm convinced it will challenge our understanding all the time. It's not just going to be a one-time deal and I'm done. I mean, your whole walk with Christ, He's going to be challenging everything you think. Because based on what, left to ourselves, we're a disaster. We're a mess.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the word itself says, Scripture says, the word of God is this two-edged sword. It'll cut you right down to the bone, which is why you're absolutely right. And again, we're not talking about just reading a bunch of Scripture, reading a bunch of stuff to try to sound smart at church or try to impress other people. Well, hey, I go to 5 Bible studies. That's not what it's about at all. It's about you need that. I need that. I want that. And to have that mind of Christ, I've got to get into His Word. And if I can, just give a little plug for something that is going to be coming out, hopefully, maybe a little bit later this summer. But Wildman and Steve are going to have a third show that has to do directly with that, with the study of Scripture. So be on the lookout for that.
Yes, again, there he goes again, folks. Steve is the perfect segue. He knows how to segue into anything. But yes, be on the lookout for the other show that we are going to be doing as well. Folks, one of the things to keep in mind with this is that everybody's at a different level of their understanding. Everybody's at a different level of their spiritual walk. And I think the important thing to keep in mind with a discussion like this is that as long as you are moving forward, you're on the right track. As long as Jesus is guiding you and teaching you through His Word and He's changing you, you're on the right track. Now, if there aren't any changes taking place, that's when you need to start getting concerned.
Aren't you just quoting Walt Disney? Wasn't that Walt Disney's motto, keep moving forward? Isn't that the motto of Disney World or something? No, I'm being serious, actually. For once in my life,
you just threw something at me, and I really don't have an answer to that. I'm not sure.
I believe it is. In fact, it gets incorporated into that animated movie that Pixar did, Meet the Robinsons. Keep moving forward, and that actually was a motto. I'm almost positive of Mr. Walt Disney.
All right. Well, that's. Yeah, I mean, it's out there everywhere. Even in the secular world can understand that, even to a certain secular standpoint that as humans, we should be moving forward. And so as we're following Christ, that should definitely be happening again, definitely be happening more as we're followers of Jesus. So folks, once again, here is Chaotic Resemblance, the band we are devoting this show tonight, and here is Superhero.
This is Wildman and Steve with Metal Talk.
Show him respect. Get
right, that was Chaotic Resemblance once again with Superhero. Great band, aren't they, Steve?
I love that nice, quiet, soft, soothing sound of Chaotic Resemblance. I could just go to sleep to that. Actually, I could go to sleep to that because I love some serious screaming metal, baby. That was awesome. So, L.A. Ellis and Travis McConnell, we love you guys. We appreciate all that you guys are doing. And once again, if there's anybody out there that's looking to book an awesome metal act, get a hold of these guys, Chaotic Resemblance. You can go to our website and find out more about them.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what's funny is, Steve, as we have been talking a lot over the last several months when you and I started working together with the CCR podcast, and, some sarcasm has come in here and there, but, it just seems like we could almost title this first episode the Sarcastic Metal Live Show, because there's been quite a bit of sarcasm from beginning to end, wouldn't you think?
Oh, really?
Now, I do need to ask. I'll put you on the spot. Well, okay. I already have several times throughout the show.
You've already done it tonight. Why not do it now? Absolutely.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who do not know, Steve is a Latin teacher. He was Teacher of the Year in Indiana for 2014. Now, are your current students listening?
I seriously doubt it. It's summer vacation, and they have probably scattered to the winds. But you never know. And I certainly have some students who are big into heavy metal, so it's entirely possible.
Okay, yes. Well, if you are listening, and if you are one of Steve's students or former students, do me a favor, folks. Send me a embarrassing story about him.
Wow, folks, that looks like all the time we've got on Metal Talk tonight.
Well, it's not like I'm going to do anything with that, they'll send me, I'm only talking about my own personal entertainment, Steve. Don't worry. It's not like I would share it on the show or put it into a text or the chat or put it on our website or on Twitter. I would be very respectful, especially if it's something very embarrassing.
Yeah, and if you believe that, folks, please. The problem with living in this age is that your voice and your image are out for all the world, and there's nothing you can do about it. So several years ago, we have to be on hold duty between classes at the school where I teach, and it's only a 6-minute passing period. And in the 6 minutes that I was on hold duty, a couple of my girls had brought in pictures that they had cut out from websites of me and taped them up all over the room. And when I say all over the room, I mean like on our clock. They had my face on every single number. So suddenly you couldn't tell what time it was. Well, it looks like it's Perkins past Perkins, and unbelievable. So yeah, your stuff's out there and you can't help it.
And, I couldn't keep from, you're from Indiana. Do you, by any chance, you have pancake houses out there?
We do.
So I'm assuming that you get some kind of a kickback every time somebody eats a pancake at a pancake house.
I wish. I do love the Perkins restaurants. They're really, really great, especially for their pot pies and their dessert pies and just crazy good pies. No, sadly, no. I get no kickback from that whatsoever. I should see somebody about that.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. Hey, you know what, Steve? I have some connections. Let me make a few calls for you there. I can get that done.
Awesome.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for joining us on this opening episode of Metal Talk Live. Be sure to join us every Sunday night at 8 p.m.
That's it. 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday nights. You can find out more about this show and the other things that Wildman and I are doing in the world of Christian hard rock and heavy metal at wildmanandsteve.com.